Hello, everybody. Welcome to Underneath the Hat podcast. I am your host, author, entrepreneur, educator, mentor, Cherise Simmons. And I want to thank you for joining me on this Saturday as we have been discussing for season 3 blessings and lessons. So, I've been a little torn about what I wanted to talk about today. I normally record on Wednesday, so today is Wednesday, the Wednesday before it actually airs. And I just came in from taking my dog to the vet. He had to get some teeth extractions. So he's recovering. I'm waiting for him to get off the anesthesia, and then I'll go and grab him. Keep checking his mic battery. But there's been so much that's been going on with me. If you've been tuning in the last couple of episodes, you know I've been talking about jumping back into the dating pool, and it's been interesting. It's been interesting to say the least, but I've been enjoying myself. I've been learning a lot about me, and so I decided I didn't know if I wanted to talk today about being grateful or if I want to talk about trust in the process. So I think I'm going to go with trust in the process today. And I really had an awakening moment about trust in the process this week. So as I told you all a couple of weeks ago, I had jumped into the pool of dating. I believe nothing happens by chance. And so I had jumped in the pool of dating with one of my former boyfriends from when I was a teenager. What I thought was jumping back in the pool, but I believe it was a training wheel situation because God was preparing me to be comfortable. So he sent me someone that made me comfortable enough to test the waters. And it ultimately didn't work out because I felt drained talking to him because he was so broken and unhealed. And so it was definitely a starter situation. I was able to express myself more openly, which was something I normally wouldn't do. I could see the growth and maturity in myself dealing with that person for those couple of weeks that we were engaged with each other. And so I realized that I could not be in a relationship with him because, for one, he wasn't ready, and he stated that. And for two, you shouldn't feel drained when you're in a relationship with someone. And I felt drained, like affected mentally, emotionally. I felt drained. And then a lot of who I was, he had a problem with. And I was not. I will admit now, I was willing to give it the old try because I knew him. I knew the old him. But this new person wasn't going to be good for me. And so after, in the midst of me deciding that I was done with trying, God sent me somebody else. And this person, it has been very unconventional. And that it's like the whole online dating thing. And so I've been having this conversation with him. It's been a good 2 weeks now. 2 weeks? Almost 2 weeks. And because it's so unconventional for me, because I'm used to the old school dating of, do you like me? Check yes or no. Us going on a date, us courting, us seeing each other every day, calling each other. I know where you live. I can get to you if I need to. That's what I'm used to. This one isn't working like that. And I've had some moments where I'm like, Lord, I'm not trying to be on snapped. Okay. I need for this to be what it's being led to be. And he kept telling me, I never felt, you can tell when your intuition kicks in and you get those red flags and it's like, this ain't it. Not once have I felt that. And I think that scared me too, because I still had a little guard up from my previous relationships. And I was trying to protect myself and not get hurt in the process. But God kept telling me, I got you. I got you. But being hard-headed, sometimes we don't believe when he's telling us. And so I ended up having a conversation with my life coach, Mo. And she told me to do this assignment where I had to write what I didn't want on one side of the paper, what I did want on the other. This was before I met him. And like 3 days before. And literally I didn't even put on the side what I didn't want, because I'm like, you can tell what I don't want from what I do want. So there's no need in me writing the same thing just on the opposite end of the spectrum. So basically everything that I have asked for, he has given me so far. And I just told him today about my list. Just told him. And he still doesn't know everything that's on there. But I've been asking. He actually started asking the questions first. The type of questions that I would dive in and ask that most people shy away from on first dates. He jumped in asking those questions. So that was already a plus for me. And we've just been having great conversation, but still in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, this is new. I don't know how this is going to go. And God kept telling me, trust the process. I got you. And that's been my motto. I said that was going to be my motto theme for the year instead of a New Year's resolution. My thing would be to listen and trust. But, we're human. We have flaws. We are disobedient and don't listen all the time. And just like kids. And so I'm trusting him, but it's that part of me is like, and so I ended up getting my cards read, my tarot cards read. What's today? Wednesday? Yesterday. And she knows nothing about him. And everything she said has to do with him. And so I'm like, oh my God. So God is constantly sending me confirmations. And one of the things she said is, everything is fine. Everything is fine. Trust the process. Trust the process. And all I keep saying to myself is, you ask God to give you something, and it's something you've never had before. And in order for you to have something you've never had before, you're going to have to do something you've never done. And this I've never done before. This unconventional way of dating, I've never done before. I shied away from this. I thought people who did it were crazy. And here I am in the thick of it. And from what the card said yesterday, this is the one. So I am like, okay, Lord, I'm going to trust you. But Jesus, take the wheel. So I would say that the blessing of trusting the process has been, trusting it 75%. I would say, I'm going to be honest. I told you I'm very transparent. About 75% of the process I'm trusting. And it got to 75% after. Okay. It was 75% before the card reading. I would say it's about 90 now. But when you've been hurt so much, you're just waiting for the shoe to drop. I know that God can do everything. He delivered me from those 2 past relationships. He delivered me from the roller coaster of the one I was talking to a couple of weeks ago, the emotional roller coaster. Like, I know what he can do. It's just that you let other people's perspectives get in your head and what other people have to say. And I've learned, and I'm still learning, that some people who try to give you opinions about relationships, you have to look at theirs. I can't take relationship advice from everybody. And so I've learned to not tell them as much. especially when I know you don't believe. I need people around me who have the same belief and faith as I do, and who believe in me enough to know that I wouldn't do anything intentionally to cause hurt to myself again. Um, so I'm definitely 90% there of trusting this thing, but I will say I am enjoying the ride. I'm enjoying the ride. I've never felt like this before. I've never felt like this before. In 2 other marriages, the courting process, the dating process, I've never felt like this before. Um, and I think it's because the whole in-person thing, the potential of getting to that person and involving sex and intimacy on a physical level is taken away. That I have to be intimate with him mentally and emotionally, which is something I've never done before. So, and from what the cards say, this is the one. So we'll see. But the blessing of trusting the process is that at the end of it, you get what you asked for. You get what you asked for. And so I am manifesting, which is what I'm learning with my life coach. I am manifesting that this will be the one that I have been asking for, wishing for. This will be the one that has all of the dreams that were destroyed and the embarrassment and all of the things that were stolen from me in the past relationships and torn from me and stripped from me will be given 100-fold in this new relationship. And I can say already that I have received that. So I'm just excited to see what happens. So I would say that is the blessing of trusting the process, is knowing that you will get ultimately what it is that you asked for. It may not look like you want it to look, but it's what you need and want. And the lesson in trusting the process has to be trusting the process. That's the lesson. Me trusting God enough, continuing to build my relationship with him to know that he has brought me out of it. If he's done it before, he'll do it again, as I quote Ty Tribbett. He's the same guy right now as he was back then. And so I've seen what he can do. I believe what he can do. I'm just a little nervous. But I know he's got me. And so that's the lesson of trusting the process, is believing in the person that you trust to do what they said they're going to do. And that's Christ Jesus himself. And so I am excited. I can't wait to see what happens. I'm excited. Like, I've been smiling and cheesing all over the place. My mood is different. Like, totally different from what I was trying to do with the emotional roller coaster to now. Totally different. I think everybody should try to have a more emotional and mental relationship with a person before you jump into intimacy or physical intimacy, because intimacy doesn't just involve lapping on each other and touching and on each other. Intimacy starts in your mind first, especially with women. In order for us to give you that physical that you need, you have to start with us mentally. And so if you can get this, you can get everything else. That's why it's so easy for people to be manipulated, because manipulators start with your mind. And if they can get your mind warped and discombobulated, they can control everything else about you. And so if we can use it for negative to manipulate and control people, then surely we can use it to build lasting and fulfilling relationships. And that's what I am experiencing right now. And I have never experienced this before. So I am excited for what's to come, because they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And I am doing something that I've never done before, and I just have a feeling. that this is going to be the one. So I want to thank you all for going on this journey with me. Leave some comments, some questions I can ask him. I done pretty much asked him every dang question I could think of. And I even ordered those first date cards by the Black owner Ace Metaphor. I think his name is. So I've ordered those, and that's our way of spending quality time together, is going back and forth, answering the questions, getting to know each other, diving deeper into the question, just to find out who the person is. And if it's somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life with, because your looks can only go so far. And as you get older, certain things don't work like they used to. And so if you're only relying on your physical attraction and the sexual attraction, you're going to be upset. Because I can tell you, if you've ever looked at any of my past videos about my infertility journey, you know from my transparency that sex was the last thing on my mind when I was under the influence of those shots and that medicine. And so you have to be able to still hold the attention of your spouse or your mate with the words that are coming out of your mouth, which means there has to be some substance in your head. And so I'm glad to know that I can hold a conversation with him and not give myself a headache, or that I can hold a conversation with him and not feel like I'm being hoodwinked and bamboozled. So I say you should try it. Try it to see before you dive into the physical intimacy component. It'll blow your mind, I tell you. So I will definitely keep you posted, but post some questions I can ask him to get to know him better. And I will definitely keep you updated on what's going on. Again, make sure you check out my books, Underneath the Hats, and Is That Size for a Reason. They're available on Amazon. Just type my name, Cherie Simmons. Type that on in there, and they'll pop right up. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like the YouTube page, Underneath the Hat Podcast, where you are now. Or check us out on all podcast platforms, Anchor, Overcast, Spotify, Apple, Google, Breaker, and Pocket Cast. Please share. This message may not be for you this week, but it could possibly be for someone else. So please share it so that we can continue to sow into each other and help each other. I am a firm believer in one person's testimony is another person's blessing. And that so often we go through things that we really don't have to. We suffer a lot more than we have to. If we would just communicate and share our testimony with someone, it could be the one thing that helps them to get over their hump and not have to make the same mistakes that we made. So please share it and post your questions. If you want to sew into it, you can always catch me on Cash App at $YLAAT 2017, and also Zelle through our email underneaththehats@gmail.com. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, for being loyal and devoted with me. I am enjoying my ride as I trust the process, and I pray that whatever it is that you're stuck on as to what you should do, just trust God and trust the process. And as always, don't forget to take care of yourself underneath the hat. I will see you next week. Have a great one.